It is Prediction Friday as the San Francisco 49ers set their sights on the Buccaneers. But before we get into that, we have some practice updates to talk about. Potential roster moves popping up. Ooh, maybe a little bit. So we're going to get into that all. Of course, we're going to discuss it. We're going to do offensive, defensive player of the game predictions, score predictions, and of course, bold takes coming up on this Prediction Friday. Hopefully, all the SDS is doing well. You already know the vibes. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's talk about some 49ers football. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Let's go, Justin. That super chat. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. And if you've been living under a rock, not following this channel closely like you should, and have post notifications on, maybe you don't know that Jason Verrett is on the way. Woo! I like it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Now, it's not official just yet, so we can't totally celebrate the return of Jason Verrett, but it does sound like Jason Verrett is on the way. Oh, we got a respectful Bucs fan. Look at that. Just wanted to say good luck on Sunday. Got a lot of respect for y'all. Well, shout out to the respectful Bucs fan. I mean, you're living by your name, so feel free to kick it a little bit. We're gonna do our prediction show. Focus on the Bucs, and any inside information you guys want to give us, feel free to drop into the chat. Always welcoming some respectful fans, even the annoying ones will welcome in and have some fun with. But yes, Jason Verrett, big news today, is expected to sign to the San Francisco 49ers practice squad next week. And my kind of interpretation of why it will be next week and not now is because based on hearing Kyle Shanahan talk about some other moves, the kind of practice update moves and IR designations and all those different types of things, sounds like the San Francisco 49ers have a lot of roster moves coming down the pipe here in regards to Womack, Danny Gray, Beal, Luter. They've got guys just hanging out on the practice squad, or not practice squad, excuse me, on injured reserve or physically unable to perform, and they got to get activated. Also, we have Nick Zakelj go down on IR, so he reverts to injured reserve. So the 49ers have some roster juggling that they got to do, though. You know, they're out. That Kyle basically said that we got to figure out the numbers. But we did get some good news. Danny Gray sounds healthy, which we kind of assumed at this point. But Danny Gray should be activated here pretty soon. I would imagine the same with Samuel Womack and some others. We might see maybe Luter, maybe Beal. I don't know. But next week sounds like big roster shuffling is going to take place, and that's when Jason Verrett will be added. Let's talk about JV for a little bit. I shared this video. I actually had to reshare it because I somehow did not add the clip of Kyle Shanahan. I'm still trying to figure out what happened in my brain that didn't occur. But anyways, Kyle Shanahan was talking about the potential addition, because it's not official yet, the potential addition of the 49ers adding Jason Verrett to the practice squad. And he talked about the workout. And I love what he said about the workout because, you know, I don't we every time the 49ers work someone out, we don't do a whole show dedicated to why the 49ers should sign this player that they work out. But that speaks to the type of player that Jason Verrett is and what he's been for the 49ers up until this point, right? Like the whole live I did yesterday, the title, the thumbnail was why the 49ers need to bring in Jason Verrett. You don't do that for Joe Schmo coming in for a workout, because I think also that day prior they worked out like 7 or 8 other guys. It's just not something you do. But when it's Jason Verrett, you do a whole live show for it because he was on the San Francisco 49ers for about 4 years, from 2019 to 2022. We got one full season from him where we got 803 total snaps, 55 total tackles. We got 2 interceptions, 6 PBUs, and he only gave up 1 touchdown in coverage. He was phenomenal that year in 2020. Some might say special. We got the glimpses of all-pro Jason Verrett in 2020 after he had suffered so many injuries as a Charger and, caught on with us. He did a really good job. He was going toe-to-toe with prime DeAndre Hopkins, all that stuff. So that's why we do a dedicated show for that workout, because we know who JV is. Like, we know what he's capable of. And I loved what Kyle said. Kyle Shanahan said that there were about 7 players watching Jason Verrett's workout, which is not typical. That just doesn't happen. Players, like I said, players come in and out for workouts every single week. The Browns right now are working out about 5 former 49ers, Jason Poe, Joey Fisher, a bunch of other guys. So workouts happen all the time. If you're available, teams will work you out, see if there's maybe a shot to add you to the practice squad. It's really, sometimes I don't even report on workouts that occur. Like, I didn't report about the other 7 that the 49ers brought in. But that's why this whole Jason Verrett thing is a different situation. It's a different scenario. So with Jason, there were like 7 49er players watching his workout to kind of show support for him. And I thought that is the perfect picture to paint of why you signed Jason Verrett. Yes, is he 32 years old? Is he bouncing back from an Achilles injury after bouncing back from an ACL injury and like 4 more ACL injuries? Yes, he has a lot of injury history. We're very well versed in it because he suffered 2 season-ending injuries with us. So we know that about Jason Verrett. But what we do know as well is that the locker room loves this guy. And he was in this locker room for 4 years with a ton of these core players. And I love this addition for our defensive backs. Addition for Charvarius Ward. I love this addition for Diamador Lenore, Amory Thomas, Isaiah Oliver, Jamar Jean Charles, all these guys. They get a true professional in that room to be able to be a sounding board. JV's the type of guy that walks into the room and instantly demands respect. Doesn't have to say a word. He just instantly obtains the respect of these guys, not only for the type of player that he is and was, but because of how he carries himself and how these guys know who Jason Verrett is. So Jason Verrett coming back to the San Francisco 49ers, I freaking love it, man. I freaking love it. The vibes through the roof. Getting a leader, a veteran presence of that caliber back in your locker room, in your defensive back room, and who knows if we actually get to see JV out here on the field. That would be phenomenal. That would just be such a good story. I mean, talk about, I just think back to last year, because it was last year that we dealt with this. Last year, heading into the Chargers game, the whole storyline in the week prior was Verrett's finally going to play. I remember going to training camp last year and watching Jason Verrett before every single practice do his rehab. He was running up and down the field. Was that back in August, early August? So I've been watching JV every time I go to training camp. There he is. He's out there before practice doing his whole workout and just working back, working back, working back. And in that lead up against the Chargers, his former team, who he was going to play, 49ers had already lost Emmanuel Mosley for the year. And so this was like a big shot of energy, like, oh, we're getting JV back. And that week he goes down and ruptures his Achilles in practice. In practice. It didn't feel real, man. Like that whole situation, it didn't feel real. Like I'm telling you, I'm just like reliving that scenario. It didn't feel real when the news came across that he ruptured his Achilles, because we were so hyped on him returning, coming back against the Chargers, and the news that he ruptured his Achilles was just like shattering. Like it hurt your heart, because you just feel for these guys, man. Like you just feel for like a player who's gone through so many injuries like that, who's gone through so much adversity, fights back every single time, and here he is. So many players could have thrown in the towel. So many players could have said, well, I got paid. I had a decent career. Injuries tore me up. It is what it is. That's not JV, man. Dude was on the practice squad for a month with D'Amico Ryans. And that also makes me feel good that he's been on a team. He's been practicing. He's been running scout team. All that stuff, man. All of that makes me feel really good about this. Like, I think I would have a little bit more pause on his return. If he wasn't on a roster, I think the fact that he was on a roster for a month and he was running scout team and he was practicing means he's in football shape, means he has, you know, he's some wear and tear on his body. He's not just coming off the couch trying to play in the NFL. He's been in the NFL for the last month. And I think what had happened is, I don't think he had a path forward to playing with the Texans. And I think D'Amico did him a solid, let him go. I'm sure there's some kind of maybe backdoor like conversation that, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch call up on D'Amico and be like, I don't know. Like, hey, what's going on with JV? What's JV looking like? Because it just feels like it was a direct line. Like JV went straight from Houston to the 49ers, and he's not even signing this week. He's signing next week. So I don't know. Maybe there's something, a little backdoor handshake, kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. We'll let him go, give you guys a shot to give him some actual playing time. Who knows? But I love the addition of Jason Verrett. And I think it will be a positive one for the San Francisco 49ers, even if he doesn't step 1 foot on the field. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, man, if he ultimately plays and plays well, that will be a fun scenario for the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll see. We'll see what occurs, and we'll see how it moves forward. But so far, I like it. I like it. But let's focus on Bucs, shall we? All right, it's Prediction Friday, so we're going to get into all our predictions. Let's take a look at the roster that the Bucs are going to be presenting to the San Francisco 49ers. If you missed it, Nick Wright believes that the 49ers would actually be better with Baker Mayfield, and the Bucs would be worse with Brock Purdy. which I find absolutely wild. But that's a take for sure. Is it the incorrect take? 100% the incorrect take. It's definitely a take though, right? It's a take. We can call it that. That's about it. It's about it. That's it. It's a take. It's a take. So let's see. Oh, we got shout out Cap. Let me get rid of this ad. And what's Cap saying? Cap says, "What up, Brad? I'm calling it now. Luter and Tig are gonna make our secondary elite in coming seasons. Remember, I said the same about Huff and Demo. Their rookie year prediction prediction Friday motivated me. Cap's going with the long predictions today. He's saying Luter. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Luter passed the eye test for me. Same thing like I was talking about with Jason Verrett, watching him work out last year, doing his rehab. I got to watch Daryl Luter work through his rehab process before training camp. That's the only time I've seen him. But he passes the eye test. I'll tell you that. He looked, and even then, he was moving pretty smoothly for it taking this long for him to get back. So Luter, I'm cautiously optimistic about him. I really don't know a whole lot about him, but after watching him kind of work through, he's got NFL size. He moves really well for his size. He's got length, and so we'll see how that translates to the field. But I'm very cautiously optimistic about Luter. Being able to see him up close kind of gave me some optimism about him. And that was early August. So, and I didn't see him in any kind of football environment outside of just working drills and rehab stuff, but he moved good. Hips looked fluid. Um, he looked like an athlete. So I'm very excited about him. I'm excited about Tig too. I know we talked about it a little bit, but watching Tig on that mic'd up, you could see he's got the fire in his eyes. Like he'll talk like he's vocal. I didn't really know that. Tig's vocal. And for being a rookie that's not actually seeing playing time, and for him to be hyping his guys up and be engaged, like I like that. Like there's a lot of promise with Tig. I think it's gonna click for him, and when he gets his shot, I'm excited for it. Gift's been playing really well though. I know we got into this little like should we like sit down Gip? Gip, I think, has been great. And he was great against the Jags. So um, unless the 49ers are just out of it, I don't see any reason why they would go from Gip to Tig just yet. But if you can integrate Tig a little bit more, I would all be for that. All right. So I'll try to remember this. Cap said Huff and Demo about to ball rookie year. He's calling Luter Tig about to ball out. So we got to remember that. I'm going to log that. I'll try to at least. You're going to have to remind me on that one for sure later. But I'll do my best. I'll do my best. We got a respectful Bucs fan here, so love it. Hey, I don't mind when other fans drop into the chat. Always makes it for a good back and forth. But I always do appreciate a good, respectful fan. I mean, shout out chat legend Don Burr, Detroit Lions fan, was in our chat for months leading up to 2021 Week 1 game, and Don Burr still regularly checks in to this day. Chat legend. So we respect any fan. Oh, look! Oh, his ears must have been burning. He's like, oh, they talking about me. Shout out chat legend Don Burr. He said, I know there's I knew it. I was waiting for it. There he is. Literally right on cue, Don Burr. Good job. Good job. Oh, okay. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we're cooking with against the Bucs. So we always start on the defensive side for the 49ers, trying to kind of take a look and quantify some of the weapons that the 49ers will be going up against. And I got some good weapons. I think the Bucs are sneaky. I think everyone just kind of poo-pooed on the Bucs based on the season that they kind of had last year. Obviously, we know what the 49ers did to the Bucs last year. 49ers in Brock Purdy's first start absolutely dominated on both sides of the football. Just dominated. I was at that game. Brock Purdy's first start. What a magical, magical performance that was, and experience that was, to be able to be in the stadium, hear the stadium chanting Purdy's name for the first time. The way he scrambled for a touchdown, threw the touchdown to both CMC and Brandon Ayuk. What a fun time it was when the 49ers played the Tampa Bay Bucs last season. But it's a new year, and they got a new quarterback. A lot of the same weapons exist, but they have a new quarterback. They are being driven by Baker Mayfield. We know, bro. This roster is filled with guys I love. This roster is filled with players that I love. I talked about this in an earlier video. Baker Mayfield was actually a draft crush of mine. It's taken me a while to admit it because so many people despise Baker Mayfield. But I liked Baker. I thought he went to a terrible situation with the Browns. I felt like if he goes to a legitimate organization that has some structure and is already kind of set up, his career looks much different than it does now. But I always kind of like Baker's spiciness. Obviously, when it came to playing the 49ers, that kind of went out the window. But I do think Baker is a capable quarterback. I do. Even now, even when he signed with the Tampa Bay Bucs, I thought it was a low-key good signing. I did. So it didn't work for Baker with the Panthers. Obviously, we saw Baker's time with the Rams. And he's found a good spot with the Bucs. He's in an offense where he's surrounded by talent. I mean, you look at his wide receivers, you look at Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These are two number one wide receivers. These guys are phenomenal. Mike Evans catches anything thrown his way. Chris Godwin is a big-bodied, do-it-all type player. He can do it across the middle. He can beat you deep over the top. These guys present a ton of challenges. They present a ton of challenges. And then Trey Palmer doesn't get a lot of publicity, but he is a quality wide receiver as well. He's a rookie. And so they have an opportunity to take it to you with their wide receivers. And as we know, I think if you ask the 49ers probably what is the weakest point of the 49ers defense, you might say the cornerback position, with just because we know they've been shuffling. We know it's Demo on the outside, then to inside, and then it's, then Isaiah Oliver is playing, he's not playing, Ambry's playing. So we know it's been a bit of a shuffle with the cornerback group. So they're going to be presented with a bunch of challenges this game against the Bucs with this wide receiver core. That's why, when Nick Wright makes his piece about Brock Purdy would struggle mightily with the Bucs, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? The Bucs got weapons. I mean, Mike Evans has 43 receptions, 737 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Mike Evans is literally a cheat code for 50-50 balls. And what is one thing that we've noticed from Mr. Purdy is that man will throw the 50-50 ball. He'll throw the back shoulder. Mike Evans, 50-50 God, back shoulder savant. Like, you pair Brock Purdy and Mike Evans together? Are you kidding me? That's why we're going to start calling him Nick Wrong from here on out, because dude just is a walking bad take at this point. And then, of course, you look at Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, who's sharing, a field with Mike Evans, has 44 receptions, 522 yards, only has 1 touchdown, but he's producing. So that's going to be a challenge for the 49ers defensive backs for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do. And hey, I'm not sleeping on Cade Otton, aka the Otter. He's been a guy that I've had my eye on. As you guys know, I play a lot of dynasty fantasy football. So I've had my eye on Cade since last year. Cade has been he's sneaky athletic. He's sneaky good tight end, 6'5", 247 pounds, second year player out of Washington. He's a former 4th round pick. He's sneaky. Don't sleep on Cade Otton. The Otter can get you 30 receptions, 254 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season. He had a 2 touchdown game, not last game, but the game prior. Don't sleep on the Otter. I think he'll be a quality tight end in about a year or two with some more seasoning. So Baker Mayfield has weapons at his disposal. He has weapons. And arguably one of my favorite weapons has got to be Rachaad White. I haven't talked about him yet. But if you guys were rocking with me in the pre-draft process, I think it was back in 2022, heading into the draft, Rachaad White was one of my favorite draft crushes. He was one of my favorite players in this draft out of Arizona State. 6 foot, 214 pounds, 3rd round draft pick, was selected like 2 spots before the 49ers picked, and the 49ers picked Ty Davis Price. I was praying to the football gods that Rachaad White was going to fall to the 49ers in the 3rd round, and they were going to take him, except to watch my dreams dashed by the Buccaneers. I'm a huge Rachaad White fan. Again, talking about Dynasty, I've traded for him multiple times in multiple leagues. I actually just traded for him in my home league this week. Giving up a lot to go and get him. But I love Rachaad White. He is a guy that we cannot sleep on. On 132 carries this season, he has 429 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, that might not sound like a daunting stat line, but he is very, very active in the passing game. You heard that he has 429 rushing yards. Well, this is his receiving stat line. He has 35 receptions, 326 yards receiving, and a touchdown. He's arguably just as effective as a receiver out of the backfield as he is as a runner. So the Bucs got weapons, man. They got weapons. I'm not sleeping on this team. They definitely have quality pieces on this offense that the 49ers got to be ready to go. And when we saw the 49ers give up that long drive against the Jags, it happened in the form of screens. They got screened to death. And you don't want to get screened to death by Rachaad White. You get Rachaad White in space, he's going to cook you. He's a really good running back. He has a really good feel for being able to, read running lanes and make guys miss. So there's a lot of they got some weapons. So it's going to be a good test. And then you look at that offensive line, Tristan Wirfs anchoring down with the left tackle. They got Cody Mock, the ginger from NDSU, uh, Godecki, Hainsey, Filer. So they got a pretty decent offensive line. This is a decent offense. So it's a decent offense. They have a ton of weapons. It really is. It's compiled well. So it's not going to be a walk in a park, I don't think, for the 49ers. I'm sure that this offense hasn't been has met its peak potential because they do have a new quarterback, so they have to kind of get acclimated and all those different types of things. So the defense has a test this week, I would say. I don't think the Bucs are some team that they're going to walk over. Um, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this matchup. I'm looking forward to see how the defense responds to the Jags last week and then the Bucs this week. So, as you guys saw from last week, Nick Bosa actually got the NFC Defensive Player of the Week award. I actually made a video describing I actually did a video describing how I thought Javon Hargrave was the best player on the field for the 49ers defense. Last week when I did defensive player of the game, I picked the D line. So I picked the D line against the Jags because I felt that that was the unit that needed to step up the most, especially with the addition of Chase Young. Fast forward, that's exactly what they did. Defensive line went insane. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Kinlaw joined the mix, Farrell, Chase Young. They balled out. So I don't typically choose position groups for defensive players of the game, and I'm not going to do it again. But that brings us to our first prediction of the day on Prediction Friday. And this is where I need you guys to tap in and get active. Let me know in the chat below who is going to be the San Francisco 49ers defensive player of the game against the Bucs that offers two quality wideouts, a phenomenal underrated second year running back, and a up and coming wide receiver 3 and tight end led by Baker Mayfield, who's playing decently well this season. Give me one defensive player of the game for the San Francisco 49ers who's going to ball out. I mean, Baker Mayfield, over 2,000 passing yards on the year, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He has the 14th best QBR in the NFL right now, and that's a pretty good touchdown to interception ratio. 14-5. That's not bad. That's not bad. Can we get him scared, though? Can we get him rattled? Can we force interceptions like we did with Trevor Lawrence? So last week, 49ers got former number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence. This week, they get former number 1 overall pick in Baker Mayfield. So who is going to be the defensive player of the game? Who's going to be the guy that balls out? Let's take a look at what the chat is talking about. Right off the bat, Greenlaw will be the player of the game. He will fly around, having a healthy. Oh, look. Oh, this might be an omen. This might be a sign from the football gods. 3 off the bat. Greenlaw, Greenlaw, Greenlaw. Ooh, that feels like a sign. That feels like a sign from the football gods. The first 3 responses for defensive player of the game were Greenlaw. And he's not like a go-to, like, we do these every week. He's not like the go-to guy, right? Because we have so many quality players on this defense. He's kind of a novelty pick. We got 3 Greenlaws off the bat. Ooh, that might be a sign. That might be a sign. Edward says Tampa Bay gives up 1.7 sacks a game. San Francisco has 23 sacks on the year, and they're going to be looking to ratchet that number up against this offensive line. Lil Heater says Fred Warner going to be the guy, and then we got two Freds right off the bat. Ooh, boy. Armstead. Greenlaw will defend the screens and get a turnover. Ooh, I like that. Bosa or Warner. Fred Warner, first pick. Second, Javon Hargrave. Ooh, Javon Hargrave pick on a screen? Maybe. Sticking to the defense, Edward says Bosa. Boomer says Bosa is going to plant 2 flags on Baker's behind. Okay. We got Greenlaw. We got the Gravedigger. Hey, man. Hey, Cody Mock. Cody Mock's got a big test coming for him. The rookie having to go against Javon. That's a tough task. Chase Young is going to be number 1 this week. Okay. Doopy says the Tongan Tiger Big Hufanga will be the defensive player of the game. I would love that for Huff. I would. Huff had the interception last week, and he had some good tackles in space. I thought Huff had a really good game after kind of, having some missed tackles over the last couple weeks. I thought Huff really bounced back. He was one of the guys I thought had a really quality game. I would love that for Huff. I would love for Huff to come out and have one of those just stamped Hufanga games. Hubanga. Would love to see Hubanga bounce back. Cheyenne says it's a Nick Bosa game. The Bear was released last. Yes, he was. And he was energized. Chase Young. Maybe we got to call Chase Young the Energizer Bunny, getting everyone going. Fred gets 15 tackles and a pick. Ooh. Chase. The Bay Area Bruisers, Dre and Fred. Okay. Brad says, let me rephrase that. Chase Young and Nick Bosa. Greenlaw is quietly one of the best players just about every week. I agree with that. Michael says, let me see some more Buckeye boys. Oh, yeah. Justin says, I don't know how it's not Hargrave again after that film session. He's got a rookie, and I don't know a whole lot about Mr. Filer. Mr. Filer is 31 years old, 6'6", 330 pounds, 7th season in the NFL. So we'll see how Filer and Mauk hold up against the Gravedigger. That's a tough task. Bosa, Hargrave, and Young. Gammon says Hargrave. Front 7 going to eat. Yeah, I agree. Peter says hug gonna ball. Aw. You're offering me a hug? Just kidding. Last Friday, I predicted Huff to get a pick and a sack. Great prediction for you. Good shout out. Good call, Chili. Hey, and if you get something right from one of these predictions, pull your receipt. Pull your receipt from last week. I can't remember them all. So if you called something last week that ended up being right, pull your receipt and let it be known that you were right. That's why we do the prediction. So you can pat yourself on the back, be like, yeah, I was right. I told you so. We got plenty of room for I told you so on this channel. Chili says, I'm going to pick Dre. I'll pick Dre to go off this week. Okay, Dre. I think Dre's quietly the winner so far. Dre, Hargrave, all that type of stuff. Why did D'Amico and Houston release JV prior to their Week 11 matchup with Arizona? Looks like they picked them up when their secondary had injury concerns. I don't know why, but I feel like there was a little backdoor handshake deal. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Hey, Kyle, we're about to release JV. It just feels too perfect. It feels too perfect how it all went down. They let him go. He instantly goes straight to the 49ers. 49ers work him out. I'm like, we're going to sign you. Not going to sign you yet, but we're going to sign you. I don't know if like it was a situation where, JV wasn't going to get playing time with Houston. 49ers clearly need some additional help at cornerback. Kyle calls D'Amico, hey, what's the vibes with JV? He's doing great. We just don't have a path forward for him. Maybe, I think maybe there could have been some co-oping there for sure. So we'll see. Justin says, I still think we should have traded up for Cansey. We'll get to Cansey in a bit. And I know Justin's waiting in the wings for that segment. But we will definitely be getting to that in a second. Edward says, I called 5 sacks, 2 INTs. Is that what we had? Did we have? I think we had 5 sacks, 2 INTs. Huff, Chase, and Bosa 1 sack. Robert says, how many total sacks for our defense? I say 6. Okay. All right. Let me look at this. Let me look at this roster one more time. Let me think who I'm going to pick for my defensive player of the game. So, Rachaad White, I think the LBs are going to be active. So, I think that thought process is on point with why we saw a lot of Greenlaw, we saw a lot of Fred. I think that's going to be a good game flow indication. Rachaad White plays very well in space. They get him the ball in space. So that clearly indicates linebackers could be involved. Evans, Godwin, Auten. Yeah, I do like the thought process of going with the linebackers. I do. It's kind of swinging me a little bit. You know what? I'm going to switch it up since I went D-line last week. I do think D-line's going to feast a little bit, but I think you guys swung me. I'm going to go Greenlaw too. I'm going to hop on the bandwagon. I'm going to go Greenlaw too. I like it. I like that move. Those are good vibes. So I'm going to go Greenlaw as well. I want to see Greenlaw going sideline to sideline, shutting down. Well, I'm okay with one Rachaad White touchdown for my fantasy team, please. We could shut down everyone else. Everyone else, go to sleep. Give me one Rachaad White touchdown. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask for my own personal selfish reasons? Shut down the offense. Give me one Rachaad White touchdown, and I will be the happiest person in the world tomorrow or Sunday. That would be ideal. So I'm gonna go Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw. Hopping on the bandwagon. All right, let's take a look at this defense, though. Are we sleeping on the defense? This defense, the Bucs are quietly talented, man. I just think the Bucs don't get any pub. They don't get any hype. No one talks about the Bucs because Baker Mayfield's our quarterback. No one talks about the Bucs. I mean, they're 4-5. That probably helps. That why no one talks about them. But I see why no one talks about them. They lost 4 out of 6 games. They lost 4 in a row. Total of 5 L's. Ooh, they started off win, win, L, win. So they started out 3-1, and then they ran into Detroit, got beat by Detroit, lost to Atlanta by a field goal, lost to Buffalo, and then they lost that shootout game to Houston by 2 points, and then they beat Tennessee. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of these guys, but they do got a lot of talent. They do got a lot of talent. And when you look at it, the very first name on the list, I know Justin shudders every time he sees that name because I remember a day and a period of time where Justin was trying to think of any type of possible trade that would help the 49ers get into the first round so they could go get Kalijah Cansey, however you say his name, to go get Cansey. And I think he was totally onto something. Cansey has those kind of Aaron Donald vibes a little bit. Undersized defensive tackle, 6'1", 280 pounds, went to Pitt, same school as Aaron Donald, just so fast off the ball. He is going to be a challenge. Him, Vita Vea, Logan Hall, and Joe Tryon Shoyinka. They are an underrated group. They have an underrated front seven. Devin White, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett. They have underrated. They because they lost those games, they're not going to get a lot of credit. But this is the team that you cannot sleepwalk on because they will come at you. And they got some good players, man. That's what when I look at this roster, that's one of my biggest takeaways is they've got good players. Cansey can be a problem because he's so fast. First step quickness, moves, all of it. He can be a problem. Vita Vea, he can be a problem. That's a big mamma jamma. Right there, anchored in the middle of the defense. He's a beast. Logan Hall, length. Joe Tryon, length. Could present issues for Colton McKivitz and Trent Williams as well. So they've got a good kind of front four. And then when you tack on the last 3 to make it front 7, Devin White, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, they've got some talent up there. They've got some talent. So we got to be careful. They got some talent and some speed. Jamal Dean, Antonio Winfield. Winfield is phenomenal. I really like I really like Winfield as a safety. Carlton Davis has been up and down. Jamal Dean up and down has moments where they are really good. But this is an athletic defense. This is a defense designed to get after guys like, Christian McCaffrey, to get after guys like Deebo Samuel. Does that mean they'll do it? I don't know. We're going to have to find out on Sunday. But we got Brock Purdy coming in here, back home against the team where he got his first career start. Went crazy against them. He went crazy against some of these guys, remember. And we also know that Debo Samuel's going to be good, CMC's going to be good, Ayuk's going to be good, and Kittle's going to be good. Colton and Trent Williams made it through practice this week, should be healthy, should be good to go. So this offense definitely has an opportunity to get after him for sure. We'll see. We'll see who shows up. And that's again where I lean on you in the chat. Who is going to be the offensive player of the game? Who's going to be the offensive player of the game for the San Francisco 49ers? If we had to pick from last week, I would say it's either Brock. No, it's probably Brock. I would say Brock was player of the game last week with how he played, how he managed the offense, how he distributed the football. But who's it going to be this week? Who's going to be the offensive player of the game? Is it going to be a wide receiver? Are we going to get a surprise offensive player of the game, like a sneaky 2-touchdown game from Elijah Mitchell or Jawan Jennings? Who's it going to be? Drop it in the chat who you think the offensive player of the game is going to be. There it is. I mean, I have no problems with this. Trent Williams, it's hard to outplay the best left tackle in the world. Anytime you show love to Trent Williams and the offensive line, I'm down for it. So I don't mind that answer at all. Trent definitely brought some juice with him. Trent didn't have his best game against the Jags, but boy, did he bring the juice. Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes you just need the juice. BA, okay. BCB, McCaffrey will ironically score like 5 touchdowns. Hey, we're restarting the clock. So we're starting at 1 touchdown to start the streak again. So we're starting over next week. I could see it happening, especially if we go on a deep playoff run this year and we finish this season out strong with Christian McCaffrey getting a touchdown every game from here on out. He could absolutely try to attempt it again. I think we should try. BA goes completely off. Kittle, Brock Purdy, BA, okay. BA got some early momentum. BCB, and there it was, right on cue, Elijah Mitchell. Ayuk, he's making them give him that contract 100%. 100%. Ayuk's got some early traction. I'm liking where the chat's at today. CMC, Purdy throwing 5 touchdowns this week. Okay, I like that. Ayuk cooking that defense. Yeah, I think the chat's on point today. Brock is going to pick up where he left off, 3 tutty passes and a run-in. Ooh. Ayuk going to have to find him. Going to have to find him as rushing looks tough against that front 7. Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point. That front 7 is pretty good. Ooh, Bell gets a touchdown. Debo, Kittle, CMC's mad. He sucks, remember? I'm going to kill this fly. I swear I hope I Mr. Miyagi this fly on live. I don't think there's many things that I despise in life, but flies are at the top of the list. I need to figure out how to destroy this one. I can't stand it. He's been bugging me this whole live. All right, the precision. I can't mess this up. I got one shot. Hold on. Instead of squirrel, it's a fly. Hold on. Dang it, I thought I had it. I thought I had it. I'm very disappointed in myself. I swear I got it. I was about to celebrate. I thought I had that. All right, back to where we were at. McCaffrey will dominate. Let's see. I believe Brock Purdy's going to have a good game. I'm ready for BA to have a game, 3 touchdowns. Let's get a little crazy. Jordan Mason touchdown. Ooh, good luck. Good luck with that. Run CMC will be running the house. CMC. Kittle over the middle. Debo CMC all get touchdowns. Breaking news. I'm not the player of the game because I couldn't kill this fly. But he's gone. I scared him away at least. So that's good news. That's good news. I'm gonna go. I like where your guys' head at. I like where your head's at. I'm gonna go Ayuk too. I think I'm gonna go Ayuk. I think he has a favorable matchup against these defensive backs. I also believe that front seven will pose some challenges. And so I think they are going to air it out a little bit more. And I think Brock and Ayuk's chemistry and their connection right now is at an all-time high. And I do think Ayuk will be able to find some success because we've seen what goes down when you reintroduce Debo Samuel into the mix. It really forces those players to play up close to the line of scrimmage. So I like that. I like that thought process of Brandon Ayuk having a day. So I'm going BA. BA is going to be the guy on the offense. I'm going to say, so that's going to transition us right into bold take time. I'm going to say Dre Greenlaw he is going to create a fumble. Then he's going to scoop it and score it and go for a touchdown. So that's my defensive bold take. And then offensively, I'm going to say Brandon Ayuk, 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdowns. I'm going real bold. All right. 2 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown for Brandon Ayuk. If I get that right, the post-game show is going to be the biggest pat your own back episode ever. But what are your guys' bold takes? If you have any bold takes, drop them in the chat, and then we will do score predictions right after so I can kind of gauge the confidence levels. Remember last week, you guys were confident that the 49ers were going to beat down the Jags, and I was actually kind of like surprised by it. I was like, oh, I'm surprised by the confidence that the chat has. And guess what? The chat was right. I was wrong. I picked 24-21. Oh, the chat was right last week. I was like, dang, you guys are all predicting a blowout. I was like, that's surprising. But it was true. You guys won that. Let's see. Bold takes. We get one of these every week. Ray gets his return touchdown finally. Maybe we get it. I want this one. Trent Williams touchdown. Hell yeah. Ambry Thomas gets his pick, locks up the receivers. Secondary 3 picks. I like that. Brock 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 50 rushes. That's very specific. I like that. Jake Moody makes a 56-yarder and a 51-yarder. Ooh, bold. Ambry, 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown. That's very bold. This is also very bold. Bold take. Jennings has 3 touchdowns. D-line, 5 sacks. If you get that right, Kyle really is listening to your podcast. BA never gets those end arounds. Yeah, if we get a Brandon Ayuk end around for a touchdown, confirms Kyle, huge fan of the ginger beard. He understands what we're cooking over here. 2 defensive touchdowns, 4 offensive touchdowns. Okay. Third down, Jawan with 3 touchdowns. Whoo! I'm sensing some blowout scores coming. Fred Warner, Greenlaw both get interceptions. Cheyenne is going to double down on Boomer's bold take. I like that. You can definitely hop on other people's bold takes. What? Wait. Bold from Niner Akala sacrificed a pirate into the volcano's lava. I have no idea what that means, but I absolutely love it. Sacrificed a pirate into the volcano's lava. 38-10 Niners. If this is the score of this game next week, there's something to this. There's something to this. We got to keep this in mind when this goes down. I'm intrigued by this one. We got some sacrifices going down. I'll take that. I like that. Hufanga gets 2 interceptions. D-line's going to baptize Baker. Jason Verrett pick 6. Jason Verrett won't play because he's not officially on the team yet, but we'll save that one for next week. BA going for 135, 2 touchdowns. Juice to the house. Get pick 6. Yeah, it's been a while. Ronnie Bell starts cooking 80 yards and a touchdown. George Kittle will get a rushing touch. Ooh. Chase Young and Nick Bosa share 3 sacks. So they come out of the game with a sack and a half because they just get half sacks each individual time. Okay. Brock throws 4 touchdowns. Let's see. Soft take. Kyle stays off the damn field. If Kyle gets on the field again, I'm never letting him hear the end of it. Juice 2 touchdowns. Chase Young scoop and score. Chase fumble recovery. Okay. I like these. All right, let's transition. It's time. I want to see your confidence levels. Score prediction time. Let's see how confident you guys are in this game. Something tells me that if you predicted a blowout matchup against the Jags, considering the 49ers had lost 3 games in a row heading into the bye and had to travel cross country on a 10 a.m. start time, I'm very curious to see what your score predictions are going to be for this game that's at home, and it's the reverse. Tampa's got to travel all the way across country to face the 49ers. I'm very curious to see Ooh, here we got a bold take right here, and in the form of super chat. So it's double bold. He's stamping it down. You drop a bold take in the form of a super chat, that means you mean business. Smack Jones says Debo touchdown pass to Kittle. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. That would be fire. But he's literally standing on business with this one. He said, I'm standing on business with this bold take. I like it. Right off the bat, we got 42-10, 42-13, 34-10, 30-3, 28-10, 35-10, 34-13, 37-0. Okay. Charlene's going against the grain. She said Niners by 3, so I'm sticking to that. I like it. Stick to your guns. 49-2, 35-17. Just win. I feel those vibes. 27-13, 34-17, 31-17. 38-10, 35-7, 38-10, 28-24, 38-3. Oh, FBI, you're officially going on timeout for wishing injury upon our beloved Trent Williams. You're more than welcome to come back, but you are going on timeout for wishing that evil on us, Ricky Bobby. You have to sit in the corner now, FBI, because you wished injury on Trent Williams. Don't even speak that into existence. Timeout. Instant timeout if you wish injury on any of our players. 35-18. So definitely we got a blowout cooking is what it feels like. I don't blame you. The 49ers have definitely instilled some confidence after the San Francisco 49ers just dominated, absolutely dominated the Jags, who had won 5 straight. So I do not disagree with that thought process. You know what? I'm gonna have to say something very similar. I think the chat's been on point today. If I'm gonna have to go. I'm going 34. I'm going 34-17. 34-17. Continue to score 30 plus. One touchdown comes in mop-up duty. So potentially anywhere from 34-10, 34-17. It's kind of where I got them. 34-10, 34-17. Potential touchdown in mop-up in the 4th. So I think the 49ers get back on track. I mean, we saw them get back on track against the Jags, and I think they go crazy. I think it's another Brock party at Levi's Stadium. I think the 49ers had the much needed slice of humble pie, and I think they're refocused, rejuvenated. I like the way that Nick Bosa talked about it. He basically said, like, it feels like we're in a completely different season now. And I agree. I agree for sure. Feels like a good spot. You think you're going to promote Manning? I actually saw something from one of the beat reporters that sounded like there was going to be an indication that they might not elevate. I don't know if they're going to promote him from the practice squad Il Manning, that is, but it doesn't sound like they're going to play with 52 is what it sounds like. Doesn't sound like they're going to sign anyone to the active. And they're going to go into the game with 52 out of 53 available roster spots. And they'll figure out the whole like roster situation, I think, next week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I think we're all in the same category. We're all in the same boat. 49ers going to come away with the W. And I'm much needed home win. Much needed home win. Last home game was against the Bengals. We all know how that played out. Unfortunate situation for Joe Burrow last night on Thursday Night Football as he goes down in a really unfortunate injury to his hand. So that stinks for him big time. But 49ers need a win at home. Get those juices flowing again. Go back on that winning streak. Need it. 49ers are 6-3, correct? And that would push them to 7-3. So, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? What are we going to get? We'll see. But shout out to everyone for tapping in today. Appreciate all you guys as always. Hope you have a phenomenal rest of your Friday night. And as we get closer to game day, Sunday is going to be around the corner. So Sunday, programming standpoint, I will be at the game. No Bleacher Report or anything like that streams for this particular game. I will be doing Bleacher Report next week, though. But typical type content coming from the stadium this week. So y'all have a good one. Grab your cookies on the way out. Appreciate all the SDS. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to the mod squad. Shout out to all the homies. I won't be in Seattle, no. If it wasn't on Thanksgiving, I very well could have been. But those pesky holiday games, man. Holiday day games. Unfortunate timing when you have a wife and 4 kids. But I appreciate you guys as always. Looking forward to this one. And I will see you guys on Sunday. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to